still consider whether we will spend the Easter vacation here in Cyprus. This is always been a good idea and should be also in the future. So yeah, thank you for having me for the second time, but I understood you will never be satisfied. So how many times do I have to come until you will say, okay, this is enough, Johann, I don't want to see you once again?
Until you invite me to Portugal.
Okay.
So let's do it that way.
Okay. You're kindly invited. As I said in our last meeting, you are the standing invitation to Berlin. Hope to see you and your brother and family, especially also in Berlin. As they are Germans. Good. Please come as soon as possible. Please check this when it's possible. I hope to see you. And of course, this is of course, I would commend the way you are handling the presidency for the European Union. I was very good, effective, you're a lawyer. See it, I feel it in our discussions. Effective. That day where you have good arguments and that is very
Εντάξει, όχι. Εντάξει, δεν ήταν το σπότ ο υπουργός, δεν είναι το σπότ ο υπουργός. Ναι. Θα το δω μετά.
Test. 1, 2. 1, 2. Test. Test. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Test. Test. 1, 2. 1, 2. Test. 1, 2. 1, 2. Test. Check. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Test. Ένα μήνο δάμε. Should I bring it up? Should I bring it up? Okay. Is it? 1, 2. 1, 2. Test. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Test. Test. 1, 2. 1, 2. Ένα, δύο, ένα, δύο, τεστ, τεστ. Ένα, δύο, τεστ. Ένα, δύο. Ένα,
Geht's,
δύο.
ja? Passt es von der Höhe? Okay, dann ist gut.
Sound check, 1, 2, 3. Sound check, 1, 2, 3. Sound check, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Sound check.
Statements to the press by Minister Kombos and Federal Minister Johann Wadephul. Mr. Wadephul will speak in both English and German.
Are we ready? Dear Minister, dear Johann, let me first of all welcome you to Cyprus. It's a great pleasure to have you here. As you can see and verify, life continues as normal, vibrant activity, lively people, sometimes more lively than needed, great weather, and life goes on. This is the case despite the volatile crisis in the Middle East that continues. And this topic has been naturally at the epicenter of our deliberations today. The unfolding regional situation has undoubtedly a wider scope, and it has a direct impact on global stability. For us, for the European Union, more specifically, there is a plethora of reasons for which we must be collectively concerned. And these relate, of course, to the energy prices, to maritime navigation, to the safety of supply chains, to our economies. Cyprus, as part of the region and of the European Union, has been making the point in the last few weeks that the situation was heading in a dangerous direction. But that is all in the past. We have to manage the present with an eye on the future, with pragmatism and with resolve, and with a strong European coordination. Europe must have an active role for promoting de-escalation through diplomacy. The EU has taken a unified position on this, have condemned the unjustifiable and indiscriminate attacks against our Gulf partners. We reaffirmed our full support and solidarity for them, and we asked for the Iranian strikes against them to cease. The Republic of Cyprus has every reason to be vocal as part of the geography and as the presidency of the Council of the European Union. Let me also state again the obvious. Cyprus' profile has nothing to do with military attacks against anyone. We are still, today, suffering from aggression, from occupation. And Cyprus is about peace, it's about humanitarian operations, it's about facilitation. Cyprus is part of the answers and not part of any problem. What has happened against the British base is proof of the volatility of the conflict. And in this hour, when we needed to reassure our people, the residents of Cyprus, our visitors, the hand of solidarity was extended. I want to express once again Cyprus' gratitude to those who have swiftly responded with tangible expression of support to Cyprus' defensive capacities, and to those that are willing to do more. Ladies and gentlemen, our top priority remains the repatriation of our citizens stranded in dangerous zones. Cyprus has a plan in place in terms of these evacuations, and more than 95% of our citizens and also residents of Cyprus are back home. We'll be completing this operation in the next couple of days. Among those evacuated through Cyprus were 35 German nationals. And as I said, Cyprus is about assisting and facilitating. We have also triggered the National Facilitation Evacuation Plan, STIA, for third country nationals. It's there and it's available, as it has been in the recent past, for all the European countries and for third country nationals. We also discussed today bilateral relation. I'm not going to go into detail about that. The relation is very solid with great potential for growth in terms of culture, education, in terms of a number of sectors, the maritime sector, to name just a few. Finally, about the EU presidency, in this complexity of crises that have been facing since we took over the rotating presidency, we think that we need to make sure that as European Union we remain focused on what we have planned in terms of our foreign policy as well. And our emphasis as presidency was on the region. Developments have proved that this approach was the correct one. We need to focus on this region not only when we have a crisis, but also when we see it as a region of opportunity. This is inevitable. This is in the interest of the European Union. In conclusion, we also discussed briefly the situation in Ukraine, and we are in full alignment as to what should be happening there in terms of continuing to express our strong solidarity towards Ukraine, whether that's through the financing, the 90 billion loan, or the sanctions package. Johann, let me once again warmly welcome you to Cyprus. It's a great pleasure to have you here, and it's always a great pleasure of meeting with you and having a conversation. Thanks.
Thank you so much, dear Constantinos. Good morning, everybody. Efcharisto. Thank you for having me today. Cyprus is currently experiencing an exceptional situation. The Iranian drone attack on British military base last week has shocked us all and made it clear the threat from the regime in Tehran is real, also here in Europe. I express my respect and gratitude for Cyprus' calm and measured response. And I want to say clearly, you have our full solidarity. Cyprus is a close and important partner to Germany. You are currently holding the EU Council presidency and in these difficult times, and you're showing responsibility. One of the key priorities of your presidency is strengthening our defense capabilities. Just last week, several southern European countries sent military reinforcements to Cyprus. I want to thank our EU partners to ensure the security of Europe in all corners. Burden sharing is crucial. Security must be understood as a shared responsibility by all of us. Germany is doing its part for Europe's security. We must not forget that we are currently dealing with two wars on our doorstep. The situation in the Middle East, right here in Nicosia, is particularly close. But the war in Ukraine and the threat posed by Russia must be not overshadowed. Russia remains the greatest threat to our security. But one thing is clear, if Cyprus really needs us, we will be there. Cyprus, dear Constantinos, is an important bridge between Europe and the Middle East. You know your neighbors and the region better than anyone, and you are witnessing these current upheavals right at your doorstep. We are deeply grateful that Cyprus continues to offer itself as an aviation hub when needed. Iran's attacks pose a direct threat to our partners in the EU, our allies in NATO and the region, and to our own military personnel and citizens there. We condemn Iran's attacks on third parties, countries, in the strongest possible terms. We are witnessing profound shifts in the political landscape of the Middle East. It is vital that we, as Europeans, stand united. Today we have also discussed our mutual desire to make Europe strong and resilient for the future. If you don't mind, dear colleague, I will now switch to German. Lieber Constantinos, ich weiß, dein Land befindet sich gerade in einer Ausnahmesituation. Der iranische Drohnenangriff auf eine militärische Basis Großbritanniens hier hat alle erschüttert und zeigt, die Gefahr, die vom Regime in Teheran ausgeht, ist real, auch in Europa. Zypern hat hierauf sehr besonnen reagiert. Dafür möchte ich meinen Respekt und meinen Dank aussprechen. In dieser brenzlichen Lage habt ihr unsere volle Solidarität. Zypern ist ein enger und wichtiger Partner Deutschlands in der EU. Gerade habt ihr die Ratspräsidentschaft inne und zeigt in schwierigen Zeiten großes Verantwortungsbewusstsein. Offen für die Welt, dabei ist euer Motto ein Motto, das heute wichtiger, vielleicht auch schwieriger denn je ist umzusetzen. Eine Priorität der zyprischen Ratspräsidentschaft ist aus gutem Grund die Stärkung unserer Verteidigungsfähigkeiten. In der vergangenen Woche haben mehrere südeuropäische Staaten militärische Verstärkung nach Zypern geschickt. Dafür danke ich den EU-Partnern ausdrücklich. Denn um unsere europäische Sicherheit an allen Ecken und Enden zu schützen, kommt es auf Lastenteilung an. Sicherheit muss von uns allen gleichermaßen als Aufgabe verstanden werden. Auch Deutschland tut seinen Teil für die Sicherheit in Europa. Wir dürfen nicht vergessen, wir haben es aktuell mit 2 Kriegen in unserer unmittelbaren Nachbarschaft zu tun. Hier in Nicosia ist der Krieg im Nahen Osten besonders nah. Gleichzeitig darf der Krieg in der Ukraine und die Bedrohung, die von Russland ausgeht, nicht in den Hintergrund rücken. Russland ist und bleibt eine fundamentale Bedrohung für unsere Sicherheit. Eine Sache ist klar, wenn Zypern uns braucht, sind wir da. Lieber Constantinos, offen für die Welt ist nicht nur das Motto eurer Ratspräsidentschaft. Hier an diesem Ort wird nach diesem Leitsatz gelebt. Zypern ist eine wichtige Brücke zwischen Europa und dem Nahen Osten. Wir sind Zypern dankbar, dass es immer wieder anbietet, sich auch als Evakuierungshub bereitzustellen. Ihr kennt die Region, die eure direkten Nachbarn sind wie eure Westentasche und erlebt die aktuellen Umbrüche dort vor eurer eigenen Haustüre. Deswegen bin ich hier, um mir von dir direkt diese Eindrücke aus erster Hand schildern zu lassen. Irans Angriffe bedrohen unsere Verbündeten in der Europäischen Union, in der NATO, in der Region sowie unser eigenes Militärpersonal und unsere Staatsangehörigen hier in der Region. Wir verurteilen Irans Angriffe auf unbeteiligte Drittstaaten auf das Schärfste. Es ergeben sich aktuell tiefgreifende Verschiebungen in der politischen Topographie im Nahen und Mittleren Osten. Die militärische Eskalation ist Anlass zu großer Sorge. Es ist daher wichtig, dass wir als Europäer jetzt zusammenstehen und auch gemeinsam darüber nachdenken, dass politische Lösungen in der Zukunft gefunden werden können. Deswegen haben wir auch vor kurzem als EU-Außenminister gemeinsam mit den Außenministern der Golfkooperationsstaaten über die aktuelle Lage gesprochen. Lieber Constantinos, wir haben heute nicht nur hierüber gesprochen, sondern auch über unseren gemeinsamen Wunsch, Europa fit und stark für die Zukunft zu machen. Ich weiß, dass wir dabei auf dich und die zyprische Ratspräsidentschaft zählen können. Ich freue mich, dich bereits in der nächsten Woche in Brüssel wiederzusehen. Vielen Dank.
Now the ministers will take 4 questions from the members of the press. First, Ms. Trumps from ZDF.
Ines Trumps, German TV, ZDF, German TV, Ines Trumps. Secretary Kombos, you mentioned it, and Secretary Wadephul also mentioned it. Last weekend, a drone reached Cyprus, and it highlighted how close the current conflict has come to your country. Several partners have sent support, have sent ships. What do you expect in this moment of Germany? Und Herr Wadephul, Minister Wadephul, eine Frage an Sie. Sie haben gesagt, Zypern kann auf uns zählen, kann auf Berlin zählen, wenn es uns braucht. Ist dieser Moment nicht gekommen? Müsste Deutschland nicht jetzt auch militärische Unterstützung schicken? Danke.
You first or me?
I will go first, even if that's a question for you, I think. Look, the expectations from Cyprus, it's very clear. We have been facing this risk, which in a way triggered our reaction as regards concentrating defensive capacities for preventive, always, reasons. We have managed to follow through the plan that our experts have suggested. Therefore, we have the assets that are in place right now that is exactly what we have been thinking about needing. At the same time, I believe there are different ways of expressing one's solidarity, and these are issues that we discussed with Johann about how we can move forward and try and find ways of expressing in a more tangible and clear way what the intention, the genuine intention really is. I'm grateful and I appreciate the fact that the Minister is here today. I think this sends the right message. And I'm also going to comment on what you raised in your question about one specific incident relating to the British bases. So, as you have seen, your presence here about the life. The life is going on. This is not a war zone. On the contrary, we have to take protective measures for our people, for our residents, for everyone visiting Cyprus. We have accumulated the help that we needed in terms of what our experts have been advising, and we are continuing to have discussions with other partners as to the way forward if and when needed. I'm also going to highlight the comment that Johann made, the minister made, that in the event that Cyprus is indeed requiring something specific and it's fearing for its safety, Germany would be here. And this is, I think, the right political message for everyone.
Ja, das möchte ich auch noch mal bekräftigen. Das ist doch der entscheidende Punkt. Wenn es eine ernsthafte Bedrohung weitergeben sollte, dann wären wir da. Dann ist Deutschland da. Die Beistandsverpflichtung des EU-Vertrages gilt und wir werden sie zu jedem Zeitpunkt erfüllen. Das steht nicht nur auf dem Papier, sondern das wird in der Europäischen Union gelebt. Und deswegen möchte ich noch mal herausstreichen, was wir jetzt auch als Europäische Union machen. Es sind zahlreiche europäische Partner jetzt hier, die ohnehin Mittelmeerländer sind und die sehr schnell eine Antwort zeigen. Genauso wie wir im Nordatlantik aktiv sind, genauso wie wir in der Ostsee aktiv sind und eine stärkere Rolle übernehmen als andere, genauso wie wir im baltischen Raum aktiv sind und eine stärkere Rolle übernehmen als andere. Denken Sie nur an die Brigade, die wir in Litauen aufbauen. Das heißt, wir sind an getrennten Orten, aber als Europäische Union geschlossen zusammen. Und selbstverständlich wird die Bundesregierung darüber nachdenken, was weiter getan werden kann und getan werden muss, um auch Solidarität praktisch zu zeigen. Wir werden uns andere Felder anschauen, des Zivilschutzes oder vielleicht auch der beratenden Unterstützung, wo wir noch etwas tun können in dieser Situation. Aber wir sehen eben auch, wie mein Kollege Minister Constantinos gesagt hat, wir sehen jetzt hier auch ganz normales Leben auf Zypern. Wir sehen eine lebendige Gesellschaft. Er hat gerade eben gesagt, sie ist manchmal zu lebendig, aber wir sehen eine lebendige Gesellschaft, wo normales Leben stattfindet und wo es derzeit keine erkennbaren Sicherheitslücken gibt. Und darauf reagiert die Europäische Union angemessen. Nochmals, wenn eine sicherheitspolitische Situation entsteht, wo Zypern Deutschland braucht, wird Deutschland da sein.
Mr. Menelaos Hadjikostis from Associated Press.
Hi, a two-part question. First of all, I wanted to ask about if there is any intelligence or information or indication whatsoever that other European countries, apart from Cyprus, even including Cyprus, are at risk of further attack, not only missiles or drones, but in any other fashion, if there's any intelligence of that sort, or even European property or assets abroad. Is there any information regarding that? And the second part of that question is, I appreciate what the German minister said, that the Ukrainian conflict and Russia is the primary threat to Europe, but Cyprus has long advocated, and forgive me if I'm repeating what the other colleague had asked, Cyprus has long advocated that Europe needs a more active engagement in the East Mediterranean. And of course we see with how events are folding, many European countries have answered the call. Italy, France, Britain have their own ships, Spain as well. I just want to know, in real practical, tangible terms, you said when Cyprus really needs Germany, you will be there. How can Germany, in real practical, tangible terms, answer that call of Cyprus?
No, I don't have any intelligence informations which indicate that there's a real current threat which goes beyond of what everybody knows, that of course groups like Hezbollah are active in Lebanon, and you can never predict what will happen the next day. So that is the very reason that Israel gives an answer to that threat, which is not only imposing on Israel but also on other countries. To be very concrete, the minister said we have a lively society here in Cyprus, sometimes more lively than he would expect them to be, but we really have to see that the whole security theater Europe lives in, and that begins in the very north of our continent, in the North Atlantic Sea and the Barents Sea, which has to be defended by our naval capabilities, and we're doing that in the NATO framework. We have to look to the Baltic Sea, where I am living, and to the Baltic countries, where Germany, for the first time after the Second World War, is deploying a full-fledged brigade. So that is really an engagement which is true and which is reality. But we do not overshadow what is going on right here. It is, I would say, a pragmatic solution and a pragmatic step which has been taken by Mediterranean EU partners like France, like Italy, that they are showing up here with their forces. So if there was any security need that Germany should add any military capabilities to that, if there was any lack, of course, we are ready to do so. This is up to our militaries to discuss these issues. But for the time being, I don't see a necessity for really doing that. Beyond that, we are looking into, of course, other sectors where Germany could be practically be here engaged. But I wanted really to show and to say clearly here, with my visit, that we know what Article 42, paragraph 7 means for us. This is not only legally written down, but we are ready to stand up for that, and Cyprus and all other EU members can always count on us.
From ARD Radio, Mr. Zambale.
I would like to ask both of you, if I may. US President Donald Trump just said US goals are pretty well complete in Iran and the war could end soon. An economic crisis still seems likely. What do you think? How long can Germany, can Cyprus, can the EU endure this war without further serious economic consequences?
Would you be starting?
No, I mean, we can all agree that the war must end as soon as possible for a variety of reasons, and also for the economic reasons and the possible economic impact that you are asking about. So we hope that this will be the case. Right now, we don't see that materializing, unfortunately. We should be working towards creating the conditions for when the time is right, that there is a structure, a framework in place that could be facilitating this kind of diplomatic dialogue. And this has been part also of our thinking, our conversation here today. But the energy, the maritime lanes, all these, as I mentioned already, are very important. And going back to the earlier questions, because I think it's connected, everything is interrelated. The emphasis, of course, on Ukraine, but what's happening with Iran right now in the region, in the Gulf, it's affecting all of us, and by implication, it's also affecting the situation and our efforts in relation to Ukraine. So I cannot see that there is a clear dividing line, either in terms of geopolitics or geopolitical topography, as the minister said. This is a complex situation and everything is interrelated. The sooner we get to the negotiating table, the sooner the war ends, the better for everyone, and of course also for the economic implications that you are asking for.
Ja, diese Auffassung teile ich. Ich denke, dass die Vereinigten Staaten von Amerika nach wie vor darauf konzentriert sind, die militärischen Möglichkeiten des Iran, die eine Bedrohung der Nachbarschaft, aber auch Europas darstellen, so zu reduzieren, dass diese Gefahr nicht mehr besteht. Das gilt für das Programm einer nuklearen Anreicherung, was zur Atomwaffenfähigkeit führen könnte. Das gilt für das Programm der ballistischen Raketen und das gilt auch für die Marinefähigkeiten. Das ist ja mehrfach jetzt klar formuliert worden. Und ich denke, dass diese Angriffe so lange weitergehen werden, bis dieses Ziel erreicht ist oder die iranische Seite eine ernsthafte Bereitschaft gezeigt hat, zu verhandeln. Zum jetzigen Zeitpunkt haben wir ja von allen Stimmen aus dem Iran immer nur gehört, man werde nicht verhandeln. Und das ist zum jetzigen Zeitpunkt bedauerlich, aber das müssen wir zur Kenntnis nehmen. Ich bin genauso wie der Kollege Kombos der Auffassung, dass wir einfach auf den Moment auch hin warten müssen, wo es eine ernsthafte Chance gibt, in Verhandlungen einzusteigen. Und auf diesen Moment muss sich Europa vorbereiten, weil wir in der Tat ein starkes Interesse daran haben. Einerseits, dass keine Gefahr mehr vom Iran für die Nachbarschaft und für Europa ausgeht, aber natürlich auch die wirtschaftlichen Auswirkungen zu begrenzen, denn sie treffen uns, das ist ja nicht zu bestreiten. Und deswegen denke ich, müssen wir Europäer uns jetzt sehr schnell aufstellen, damit wir auch in diesen Verhandlungen eine Rolle spielen. Das ist ja auch einer der Gründe, warum ich diese Reise durchführe.
And final question from Mr. Tom Cleaver, Cyprus Mail.
Thank you very much. Mr. Wadephul, we saw on Sunday the arrival of the Nordrhein-Westfalen in Limassol, and yesterday French President Emmanuel Macron was here and told us of an unprecedented naval mobilization in the region, both here in the Eastern Mediterranean and in the Red Sea beyond. In the coming weeks, can we expect an expansion of the German presence in the region and a possible joining of that unprecedented naval mobilization?
No, I would like to thank our friends from Cyprus for hosting our different naval vessels which were here in the region for, I would say, already decades, because they are deployed in the UNIFIL mandate here, and this is also true for the frigate Nordrhein-Westfalen, which is here, and I'm learning from all the soldiers which were here that they really loved the country and were really grateful for the support, the practical support and the hospitality they really found here. So that is so true. As I said before, if there was a necessity, and our Cyprus friends will let us know that there is one, Germany will be ready to be engaged here, but for the time being, our assessment is that the engagement of our friends here from the other European countries in the Mediterranean are that what is right now needed and what is sustainable for the future to secure here the situation for Cyprus and other countries.
End of the statements. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.